You know, it suddenly makes sense why I see so many of my favorite YouTubers holding their mic. But at least you can hear me. Hey there, Editing Parker here. The audio originally in this was not great, so I wanted to take the opportunity to reset the music and change it up. It's the same video, I just changed the audio and made it a lot more bearable. Hopefully it's better. I'm trying. I appreciate you guys so much for the feedback, and also we reached 100 subscribers. Yay! I know that's not a lot in like YouTube land, but it means a lot to me that even one or two other people care about creating stuff means a lot. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the re-release. It is also really cold in my house, so this is the look du jour. I can be warm and I can film, or I can look great and not film. Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the channel. We're gonna dive right into it. We are making the MK11 Jade build. Her green on green. I've seen the red on green. I prefer the green on green. Classic Jade, yeah, now. This portion of the video is only going to be covering the patterning for Jade, as well as the mock-up of her dress. Next up, we'll be working on things like her staff, and then of course the final build. I'm still waiting on some pictures from KatsuCon. Once I get those back in, we'll start diving into videos on group builds, what that entails, and just the experience of it all. It was incredible. Highly recommend, especially around the amazing and uplifting people that I met. Really great way to get into the community if it's something that you've been interested in or thinking about. Well, rather than bore you, let's go ahead and get into it. First on the docket are the stockings, or what essentially will be the stockings that tie into the boots. This situation over here. But I do not have a way to pattern this myself, so I went to the master of sewing, Sarah Spaceman. In her Strawberry X Miku video, she goes over how to make a pattern for your own stocking, and as somebody who is all self-taught when it comes to sewing, I need all the help I can get. I highly recommend her channel if you are not already subscribed. Next up, we're going to be working on the arm stockings. I do not have saran wrap right now, but plastic bags will work just fine. We get to recycle and we get to make shit. Those are like my favorite things. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this technique, I'm using the plastic bags to essentially protect my arm, and then the masking tape will serve to be my pattern. I'm gonna go have my husbando cut me out of this because there are a lot of vital organs or veins and things in my arm, and I don't want to make a mistake. Now I'm gonna transfer the tape pattern onto some butcher paper, and that way it'll be a nice smooth pattern for later. Next up is her underbust armor. I'm gonna use the same plastic bag method and some tape to draw it out on my mannequin and get an idea for the shape. We're only gonna need half of this because we're just going to mirror it onto the other side. For the shoulder armor, I got this pattern from Kamui Cosplay, and I modified it slightly to match Jade's shape a little bit better. Now I'm just going to transfer it onto some 2mm EVA foam, and then get those cut and bonded together. I am using contact cement to bond my foam together. Because these are going to be Worbla covered, we need to make sure we're not using anything that's going to cause issues when it comes to applying heat for the Worbla. For the design elements on the shoulder armor and underbust armor, I couldn't find a very clean picture of just the design, so I am just kind of going off of what I am seeing on my computer and just trying to mirror that do a little bit of my own design work in there while also mirroring some of the other swoops and lines that are more visible in her bracers. It doesn't have to be perfect or an exact match. The idea is to just get pretty close. You're gonna get the idea one way or the other, and if anybody's gonna be that nitpicky, they're probably not a person I want to entertain anyway. Now that the design is all drawn out, I take a photo of it on a nice clean surface. It's a little bit harder with this red on this masking tape. It's giving me a lot of reflections, but I just clean that up in Photoshop, and then we take it over into the Cricut and we cut it out on some 2mm EVA foam. In case you didn't know, you can cut 2mm EVA foam on the Explorer 2, the Explorer 3, and the Maker models. Now that the foam is cut, I'm just tracing the pattern around it so I can cut away the excess foam, and then we're going to weed the foam. Foam, 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 foam. The blade on my Cricut is, let's be real, it's bad. It's not great, so I have to do a little additional weeding to really make it work, but you can get a pretty good cut from a Cricut on foam. Pro tip, if you have a heating gun, you can use that on the foam to help collapse some of the pores, and that makes it a lot easier to weed this out. My heat gun died on me, so I didn't have that option. But that's okay. We're gonna get through it. For the shorts pattern, I found this wonderful free pattern from Craft Passion. Unfortunately, I did not realize that the actual pattern was on another page, so this is me essentially scaling it in Photoshop because I didn't realize where the pattern was. But I included the link for the actual pattern and the tutorial for how to make it in the description. Photoshop is what I have, so that's what I'm using. I use the Object Select tool to copy the outline and fill the layer. And now I am just adjusting the size on its own canvas to half of my waist measurement. So if you ever find yourself in a pinch, that's one way you can do that. I am ready to pattern the dress portion, and though I still don't favor a mock-up because I don't wanna, I am going to make a version of this for myself, which will serve as the mock-up. Originally, I had intended to use some fabric that was in my stash, so I thought I would try my hand at dyeing it. And I'm terrible at dye, very bad, so bad. And I messed it up, and everything just kind of came out sage and not jade. So I thought it would be really cool to just make a version of the design for myself as just casual loungewear, because you know I do favor a high slit, and it would be just a cute little thing to lounge around in, you know? So we're gonna make that today. Second verse, same as the first. We're just gonna be using bigger trash bags this time. I'm using packing tape to pull in the shape a bit because I am running very low on masking tape at this point, and I'm not gonna go to the store because I don't wanna. Marking out some of the detail areas and then marking where the other side panel needs to hit on the other side. I'm not terribly concerned about keeping the unmasked trash bag portion clean. I'm going to try to clean that up when I actually go to draw this out on the butcher paper for the final pattern. But having it does give me a good idea of where the length should be and how I really want all of these pieces to hang together. already completed the paper pattern for the back panel. I'm just working on one of the side panels now to give you an idea of what it looks like when I am just trimming up the mock portion and before it goes onto the paper for final transfer. I opted to spare you all of the fabric cutting because you know what happens. It goes from paper to the fabric, and then you put the fabric together and you put it through the machine and it becomes a dress. I am, again, a self-taught sewist. I still don't like that word. So going into a lot of detail about this will only give you bad habits. Go learn from better people. But you can also get some ideas here too. That's fine, you know. Fabric wizardry is still rather new to me. I'm more of a prop girl. If you need to learn how to make an impossible weapon, I'm your girl. One important sewing thing that I can impart is that you do need to iron absolutely everything. It is not optional. Do not skip it. Do not. You want those crispy edges? You gotta work for the crispy edges. For the front panel design elements, I'm just marking them out along the dress with a water-soluble pen. Then I'm going to flip it to one side and pin it down and use a zigzag stitch to attach it before I flip it back and overcast the edge and then sew this top layer to the lining layer. I'll show this in better detail when I do the final version. This one's a little bit sloppy because she's a mock-up. It's just loungewear. It's not that serious. Since this is just for me, I'm just making some little braided straps. That way it gives a nod to Jade's design, but it's still just something comfortable for me to lounge around in at the house. Now it's time for the main event. Takes us through the mock-up. The next video up will be on her staff and making that portion. I still need to test a couple of things out. If you want to follow along in real time, please follow me over on my Instagram. I am very active in my stories. I'm honestly there every day. I've also launched a Patreon if you want to add some support to the channel that way. We've got a range of tiers and a lot of really great behind the scenes stuff that I'm going to be including there, as well as full edited sets that I do and usually post to my Instagram, since this is not a place that is really about photos, even though Instagram is sometimes not a place about photos, but I digress. I'll also be putting all of my stuff up there, so that way you can see photo sets, behind the scenes, how I edit, since I do all of my own editing, tips and tricks that I also do for photography and for filming, and just everything. I do a lot of things. Come see all the things. Well, my friends, that's the end, but we'll be back to craft again, especially if you like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!